For many people, their pets are one of the most important things in their life, from adorable cats and playful puppies to quirky rabbits and even fish. There are many people in the world who simply can't imagine living without their amazing animals. Unfortunately, though, this doesn't mean that everyone feels the same. There are some people in the world who don't care about their pets and will even dump them whenever they can simply to get rid of them. This was the sad case for one tiny pup earlier this year. However, after a surprise meeting, a hero came into the dog's life and did something incredible. This story happened in April 2022, and it started off quite scary. Mike Thawley had always wanted to be a fireman. He loved helping people out and thought that one of the best ways to do that would be to tackle the blazing fires, natural or man-made, that could otherwise consume people's homes or the natural wildlife. While it was a tough job some of the time, there were also the less dangerous aspects that Mike enjoyed to do, such as giving talks to school children about his job and helping out those who needed it most in his community. However, one day something happened that changed his life forever. It had started off as a normal day for Mike and his team. They had been enjoying a nice cup of coffee and some baked goods for their breakfasts when, all of a sudden, they suddenly got a call about a fire starting to get out of control. Quickly, all of the firefighters collected all of the necessary equipment that they would need to tackle the blaze and jumped into their fire truck to rush to the scene of the fire. Before long, Mike and his team had arrived at the Interstate 80 bridge in North Sacramento, California. It turned out that a fire had been started with some debris underneath the bridge and that it was starting to grow bigger and get out of control. Quickly, the team grabbed their hose and began to put the fire out. Luckily, it hadn't spread too far and it was easy to contain and quash. However, just then, Mike heard something that he didn't expect. It sounded like a little whimper coming from nearby. Curious about what it could be, Mike followed the noise until he came across a sight that surprised him greatly. Not too far from where the blaze was being contained, there was a small pit bull mix puppy. The little canine was covered in burned plastic and his fur was slightly singed, but thankfully he didn't appear to be too badly hurt. As Mike approached the puppy, he instantly began to perk up. He clearly wanted to be helped. However, the young dog was also quite hesitant and took a few steps back as Mike got closer. The dog didn't want to get too close to the firefighter straight away as he was worried that the human could possibly hurt him. Mike was saddened at the idea that the puppy could have been hurt in some way, along with being obviously abandoned, as he knew that no animal should be treated in such a horrible way. However, not wanting to leave the animal to fend for itself, Mike decided to take a patient approach and crouched down a few steps in front of the dog. The fireman then held out his hand and softly called the puppy to him, reassuring the canine that he was not going to hurt him. After a few moments, the puppy began to grow a bit more confident and slowly crept forward towards Mike. Eventually, the firefighter was able to stroke the little pup who was wagging his tail happily. Having finally gained the puppy's trust, Mike picked the little dog up and made his way back to the truck. After giving the pup a quick health check to see if he was okay, Mike and the rest of his team happily found that the dog was in a fairly good condition considering he was a stray. With no need to take him to a vet, the team of firefighters decided to hand him off to animal control authorities, who took him to the Front Street Animal Shelter. However, it wasn't long before Mike decided that he would like to foster the pup while the shelter began the search for the dog's new forever home. After getting the young dog back to his home, Mike immediately began to see a difference in the animal. He perked up pretty good when I gave him water, a bath, some food, and started picking off some of the plastic. And then yesterday, his personality started coming out, his tail was wagging, and he followed me around, chewing, Mike said in a news interview. Along with giving the pup a temporary home to relax in while a new family was found for him, Mike also named the canine. The firefighter decided to give the pup the name Loki, after the Norwegian god of fire and tricks, due to how the pup was found and his new mischievous personality, which was starting to shine through. While fostering a dog might seem like quite a difficult thing to do to some people, Mike had no problem with it. In fact, he had plenty of experience as he had done it once before with his American pit bull named Chunk. Mike had found the pit bull roughly 5 years before. She had been bound up along the side of a road in the rain. It was unclear how she had gotten there exactly, however, she obviously hadn't been looked after properly as she was suffering from mange. This is a skin disease caused by mites, and it usually affects dogs. The most common type of mange is sarcoptic mange and is highly contagious. It causes intense itching, and as a result of scratching, dogs suffer open sores, scabs, and hair loss. Chunk had severe hair loss, so it was clear that she had been suffering from the skin condition for quite a long time. Mike had taken Chunk to the Front Street Animal Shelter for safekeeping. However, after visiting her only a day later, the firefighter knew that he had to adopt the sweet canine. Mike had always been an advocate for pit bulls. When he first brought Chunk home with him, he said that he knew right away that the dog was where she belonged. But it seemed Mike wasn't the only fan of Chunk, as social media soon proved. "We had well over 30 million people following Chunk," Mike said. Donations into Front Street, donations to the bully rescues. Chunk had a 2-page article in Women's World magazine and an award from PETA. So it came as no surprise to Mike's friends and family when he decided that Loki wasn't going to be going anywhere. "He will be adopted," the firefighter said in a video that he made to update followers about the young pup's recovery journey. "And he will have a big sister named Chunk because Loki will be living with us." This was great news to the young pit bull mix who loved Mike and Chunk with all his heart. Loki had become quite accustomed to his new home, but more than that, he had become very attached to the man who had found him. The young dog and the firefighter had formed a very strong bond, and it would have broken both of their hearts if Loki had moved on to a new family. Thankfully, the older pit bull was also thrilled at the news, as she now had a younger brother to teach all of her tricks to. "Pit bulls are definitely a breed that is misunderstood," Mike went on to say in his video, "but definitely one of the most family-friendly and loving breeds out there at the same time." The firefighter continues to support and advocate for local shelters and organizations that are trying to turn the pit bull breed's bad reputation around. And as long as there are people out there happy to give these amazing animals a second chance, then hopefully their future is looking up. What an incredible story and an amazing man. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more awesome content. And if you can't wait for more videos, just head on over to my channel where you'll find lots more incredible stories. See you next time.